into some scary movie.
Like scary movies?
Uh-huh.
What's your favorite scary movie?
Look at me, Damien. It's all for you.
Kill her, Mommy. Kill her.
We all go a little mad sometimes.
This is my boomstick. Here's Johnny.
I have to return some videotapes.
We'll tear your soul apart.
Hello and welcome to All Things Horror. My name is Ben and I'm joined here with Matt. If you're unfamiliar with the show, each week we choose a movie to break down and review, we give our honest opinions and we rate it from 1 to 10. This week we're going to be talking about Halloween 2 from 1981. But before we do, let's take a quick look at the trailer.
I shot him 6 times. I shot him in the heart. This man, he's not human.
Universal Pictures presents Halloween 2, More of the Night He Came Home.
Who is it?
There was nothing within him, neither conscience nor reason, that wasn't even remotely human. This is some kind of a joke. I've been trick-or-treated to death tonight. You don't know what death is.
Janet, go tell Mr. Garrett we're having trouble with the phones.
There is no place to hide. He will always find you.
What's this? It's a Celtic word. It means the Lord of the Dead.
Mr. Garrett?
Halloween 2, More of the Night He Came Home.
Cool, alright, Halloween 2 from 1981. Not to be confused with the Rob Zombie remake, Halloween 2, which I think was 2009, about that.
Sounds about right. Or the second one in the David Gordon Green one, and which is again actually quite similar to this and it can be quite confusing.
So, after failing to kill Laurie Strode and taking 6 bullets from former psychiatrist Dr. Sam Loomis, Michael Myers has followed Laurie to the Haddonfield Memorial Hospital, where she's been admitted for the Myers' attempt on her life. The institution proves to be particularly suited to serial killers, however, as Myers cuts, stabs and slashes his way through the hospital staff to reach his favourite victim. So this is directed by Rick Rosenthal, although it was written and produced by John Carpenter and Debra Hill.
Yes.
Main cast is Jamie Lee Curtis, Donald Pleasence and Dick Warlock. Total runtime of 1 hour and 32 minutes. And it only seemed to be available on Lionsgate. I had to do the free trial for that.
Yeah, I'm not a good advert for that because I didn't find anything else I wanted to watch on Lionsgate. It's got the Halloween films and that's about it.
Yeah, unless you wanted to watch all the others.
Yeah, that's it. And I think I've got I've got a weird selection of them. I've not got the second one.
No.
So it's been a while since I've seen it.
I can't remember what you scored the first one, but I seem to remember you liking it.
I think I was. It was a good one to go back and watch again.
Yeah.
Kind of with a bit of distance from the first time I saw it. This one I'd completely forgotten everything about it, and as I watched it, I just started thinking about the is it Halloween Kills, the David Gordon Green, the second one, and how similar it was. And I was I see what they did. Oh yeah. It was weird watching it back with that sort of point of view. It's good John Carpenter wrote it. I don't mind things in hospitals. I quite like things in hospitals for some reason. I think they're quite scary places, aren't they? They're scary anyway because you tend to have to go there when something terrible's happened or you don't want to go there. And there's lots of skiddy sort of corridors for people to fall over on and run away, and like lots of identical looking places to kind of Scooby-Doo go in and out of rooms. So that works, I guess. But yeah, Rick Rosenthal film. I looked up his back catalogue, which sounds a bit strange. Maybe it's because it's a hospital. Halloween Resurrection.
Oh, really?
Yeah, he did that. And, like, literally directed mainly TV films, and he did The Birds too. So he's got like form for doing unmakeable sequels, like after an incredibly successful film.
Is Resurrection the one with Busta Rhymes?
It is.
Oh, okay.
It is. Yeah. So he's just the guy to come in and do whatever's written on the page then, isn't he? Because in this one, he's just doing whatever, I imagine whatever John Carpenter wanted him to do. And then like Halloween Resurrection couldn't be any more different from this.
Yeah.
And then looking through his kind of, his catalogue, it's all over the place. But The Birds 2, a TV movie, I didn't even know they made a sequel to The Birds. I don't know, there's Birdemic, but it's not the same. But yeah, The Birds too. So he's always onto a loser, really, isn't he? Like with his films.
Yeah.
It's a shame. It's a shame. I'm sure he's very good at his job, and he must be if people keep hiring him to do stuff. But Halloween 2 is a tricky one. I mean, for it to make that one, and it literally starts straight away, doesn't it?
Yeah.
After the first one.
Yeah.
See, it has to be as good. It has to be as good as it can't be. So yeah, it's interesting. The other thing I noticed, you said about the three main cast with Dick Warlock, I hadn't clocked until I saw Alucard's 100th review video that Dick Warlock is the actor Billy Warlock's dad, and Billy Warlock is in this briefly as a little kid.
Oh, okay.
And Billy Warlock is, have you heard of Billy Warlock?
No.
Oh, so he's not like a megastar or anything, but he's like a little Tom Cruise kind of guy in the film Society, which is one of my favorite horror films, really gooey film. And he was in Baywatch as well. He was like the kind of heartthrob in the first couple of seasons of Baywatch. But yeah, his dad, Dick Warlock. I didn't put those two together. Charles Cyphers is in this as well, isn't he? But you're right. This is the like straight from the beginning. This is the Donald Pleasence show, really, isn't it?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, you don't even.
I shot him 6 times.
The amount of times he says 6 times. You don't even really get much of Jamie Lee Curtis in this.
No, and you don't in the. It is Halloween Kills, isn't it? The second one of the new trilogy. Yeah, you don't get her much in that. She's in hospital during that as well.
Yeah.
So I'm sure she got paid a full.
I'm sure she
fee.
did. Yeah,
it's not like we'll keep her off the screen a bit and pay her less.
Yeah. I tried to look into seeing why they didn't get Nick Castle back to do Michael Myers, but I think it was because he was starting up a new career as a director.
Right. Well, that's like a lot of the guys that are on that first film. They all went on and did other things because they were just kind of like John Carpenter's crew of really talented, creative people who just helped him out probably for free. I'm pretty sure most of them did it for free. For me, anytime I see John Carpenter and Debra Hill, I know it's going to be a good film. Like, I just think that she adds so much to it. The dialogue, you can tell almost. I think anyway, you can tell her dialogue, especially for the female characters. It feels more authentic. She's somebody. I'm sure that and most people who love horror appreciate her, but she's somebody you don't hear a lot of love for. I know she's passed away, but you don't hear that kind of love for her contribution as much as maybe you would for John Carpenter from like the early ones. She's really good.
I couldn't get a direct straight answer for why John Carpenter didn't direct this. There was a lot of other reasons for why, but what Wikipedia was saying was he was kind of in the midst of creating The Fog.
Right. Yeah.
I don't know if there's more to it, but
there's so many of them who don't really want to carry on and make a sequel to things, and then it's like they're so popular, they make so much money, they have to. I suppose it's a bit like Spielberg getting gradually more distant from Jaws, sequel by sequel, and then as they kind of get worse and worse. I have some love for the sort of more silly end of these. I just think it dramatically changes. I think, to be honest, he probably just made that film and thought, that's it. You know, he tries to kill him off again. He's like a lot of these things, they try and kill off the main character so they can't make a sequel. And then, like Jason Voorhees will prove, they'll find a million different ways to bring them back, whether it's with jumper cables or witches and wizards or goblins or whatever it is. They'll find a way because of the money. They'll just. But I've got love for that. It makes me laugh, like silly ways to bring people back.
Is this one that you've gone back to a few times, or have you not seen this much?
This is maybe my second or third time, maybe.
Yeah, I think probably the same. I know growing up, before the new trilogy came out, I tended to either watch the early ones, like 1 and 2, or the later ones, like H2O and Resurrection. I don't know why, but I always skipped over 4, 5, and 6. However, they always tended to be on TV in like October coming up to Halloween, so I'd always see bits.
They're really easy to get as well. They're dead cheap. You can get them in little cheap box sets of 2 and 4, 5, and 6. Super cheap, like a couple of quid.
Yeah,
I don't know why that is. Maybe it's just because they were as popular. Maybe they made more of them than they thought. Something to do with the distribution, because loads of people have their fingers in the pies of these films as they go on, and some of them just want to make money. Well, all of them want to make money, but some of them are only interested in making money. So yeah, it's weird, isn't it? Because I quite like the sort of Daniel Harris, Jamie Lloyd ones. I think they're quite fun. And the one where she's not in it as well, which is strange, where they have another Jamie Lloyd. But I prefer those in a way to H2O and Resurrection.
Yeah.
But I rewatched H2O and I quite enjoyed that. Resurrection, not so much. Sorry, Rick Rosenthal. Yeah, this is by no means a bad film. Like, and in the list of all the films, it's not. It's in the top. I would say it's in the top third.
As far as horror sequels go, I'd say this is definitely a good sequel. It's up there.
Yeah. It's hard, isn't it? Because it's literally, it starts straight away. And I quite like that chaos at the beginning. It was just like, smashing into things and running around and screaming, I shot him 6 times. It's like just kind of hysteria and panic that I guess you would have in that situation. So it's kind of believable.
I think a few films have done that, horror films, where they've literally got the exact like 5 minutes of the last ending. I'm trying to think. I think maybe Friday the 13th might have done it, like one going into 2. So. I'm sure there's been more.
Right.
Hellraiser,
I do like a good horror hospital. Strangely enough, the film Horror Hospital is not that good, but I do like the kind of fear of hospitals. There's a lot of it. There's some weird scenes between the people working in the hospitals, which are a bit strange, like restocking all the characters, but they can't just have kids babysitting again. So they've got like people who work for the ambulances and doctors and nurses, and there's some like strange banter between all of those. I'm not sure how much that works, but it
was good. I mean, I'll get into it later, but it did start to get a little samey, because I completely forgot that the whole film was just in the hospital. So about the halfway mark going into maybe the third act, I'm thinking, all right, it would be nice if they could actually get out and go away from it, maybe back into Haddonfield or something, but,
when you think you're going to, they cut he damages the car so they can't escape.
I know, yeah.
And it's like there's a lot of looking for people, which is okay a couple of times, but when you're looking for people for ages and ages and ages, you do tend, if you watch it, unless you're at the cinema, you are going to tune out a little bit, I think, with just constantly going, like, Bill, Bob, Mr. Thingy, Doctor, like just looking for people. I felt there was a lot of looking for people. There's some classic kills in it as well.
Oh, there's some brilliant kills. Yeah. I'm sure. Really I'm sure I'll say this throughout as well, but literally almost everything that happened reminded me of Friday the 13th. It seemed to be like some kind of comparison. I'll point it out as we go through, but it just seemed so familiar. Like everything that happens, because they had a lot of creative kills as well. Jason is a very creative killer, and in this one in particular, this one definitely amped it up from the original.
Yeah, nudity as well. There wasn't really any nudity in the first one.
Yeah,
there wasn't like a kind of lot of swearing or anything in this one. It felt like they were going more the kind of pulpier route rather than the kind of suspense-based base of the first one, but they'd probably be encouraged to do that because of the ones that have been successful. And also, where do you go? You don't just want to make the same film again. And plus, even though it's the same night, it's weird. It feels like Laurie's grown up, and like it's not about like high school kids babysitting or anything. It's like almost like college age and upwards, but it's not, because she's the same kid in theory.
Yeah. Although this was filmed 3 years later, wasn't it? Because the first one, 78, I think it was.
That's right.
Or
77 was it? I'm not sure.
I think,
So still, it's a few years, isn't it?
Mm.
And even though it's the same night, she's grown up.
But that just goes to show what good, I don't know if you could put it down to the director. Well, I think they used the same cinematographer. But cut over from the first to the second, because it flows straight into it. You hardly notice, really.
Yeah. No, you're right. It's 78, so it's like, a couple of years, 3 years, isn't it? So that's... Yeah, and there's good continuity. They must have held on to everything. Or maybe they just did that because it was such a low budget film. They used all the things that they had anyway. It's not like they had to all put it into storage or whatever, because it was just kind of like real houses and real things, and the costumes are not exactly high tech or anything.
Well, talk about holding on to things. I did not expect that to be the same Michael Myers mask. For me, it looked so different.
Right.
But no, it was the same mask.
Oh, okay.
And apparently Debra Hill had it under her bed for the whole time, and she was a very heavy smoker. So, over those 3 years, it got quite weathered. And Nick Castle in the first one, apparently in between scenes, he used to just stuff it in his back pocket.
Right, nice. So Dick Warlock's got a big smelly mask to put on.
Yeah. Oh, and plus Dick Warlock apparently has a much wider head than Nick Castle, so I think it fitted a little differently.
Bit tighter.
Yeah.
That'd be like me. I've got a big head. It'd be like, put it on me. I'd be squeezing it on. I've got a shark mask that I bought for Halloween, and I put it on over my head, and the rubber makes me feel sick. You can just see me. I'm inside like a Jaws sort of style head, but it stinks.
Yeah.
It's horrible, that rubbery smell. But add some fags and some farting from his back pocket, then gross.
Crusty old latex.
Yeah.
I mentioned Friday the 13th, but just out of curiosity, franchise-wise, if we get the top 3 franchises, so this one, Halloween, Friday the 13th, and A Nightmare on Elm Street, how would you rank those?
In terms of the best or my favourite?
Yeah, your own personal favourite. What's your favourite franchise?
Oh, Friday the 13th.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Oh,
yeah,
no hesitation there.
Yeah. Yeah, no hesitation. It's strange, yeah, because I think I will watch all of them. Not a massive fan of Jason Go to Hell, but I need to rewatch it because somebody told me it was very, very good again recently. So, he's being dragged down to hell by Freddy, and I'm like, okay.
Yeah.
But Nightmare on Elm Street 3, I love. It's probably my favorite in that franchise. Halloween 3 and the first one are probably my favorites in those. To answer your question, Friday the 13th all day long. What about you?
Yeah, no, I was just wondering because everyone calls this such an iconic franchise of films. Like, you think, Halloween is one of the best slashers there are, but no one really ranks it as number one. Like yourself, you'd prefer Friday the 13th, but me, I would go A Nightmare on Elm Street. I've always liked the entire franchise. I've had no problems with any of them really. But yeah, and then second, I would probably go Friday the 13th, and then third with Halloween. Not that I don't like it. It's just I found it interesting that not many people rank it as number one.
No, I have more of an emotional attachment to the third one, which doesn't have Michael Myers in it. Which is a bit strange. But like the Nightmare on Elm Street, I suppose there's been a nice gap where there's nearly been nothing made with them, and sometimes you can have a bit of, like, for want of a better phrase, like overkill. I think maybe there's been a little bit too much with Michael Myers, just constant, and the stories have got a bit all over the place, so it's hard for people to kind of invest in the whole thing because it chops and changes, and you're like, so who is it in this one? Like, is she his sister in this, or is this not, or is this canon? Is this, like, it can get confusing. Whereas, like, Nightmare on Elm Street, Friday the 13th, it's pretty much stayed constant, hasn't it? There's been but Nightmare on Elm Street, definitely. There's even the ones that people weren't that into, having, like, critical reappraisals. So, like, Nightmare on Elm Street Part 2, like, people are really getting into that now because of the gay subtext and kind of being open to that and being more accepting of that rather than kind of using it as, like, a way to laugh at or make fun of the film. So people are getting into the second one.
Okay.
So, yeah, I think maybe you're not on your own with people really liking Friday the 13th, having, like, a lot of love for it. Maybe if they'd have been a little bit more selective with Halloween, people might have had a bit more love for it. I don't know.
Yeah, maybe, yeah. Huh. Interesting. Yeah, I mean, that's all I've got for
Me too.
Pre-spoilers. Did you want to jump into the plot?
Yeah, let's do that, because we're almost doing that anyway, aren't we?
Yeah. Cool.
Spoiler warning.
Alright, so Halloween 2 starts off right where the original one ends. So on October the 31st, 1978, Laurie Strode fights Michael Myers to where he is shot by psychiatrist Dr. Sam Loomis, and he falls off the balcony. He survives and escapes into the night, and that's when you get the iconic Halloween opening credits arrive.
Yeah.
Did you like that they started it off way back? It was like basically the third act, wasn't it? You get the little showdown between Laurie and Michael, and then Loomis shows up and blasts him out the window.
Yeah. I think it's really good. A great start. Like, it's frantic and, like, crazy and quite, in a strange way, sort of comedic. Like, everyone's just going off in a million different directions. It's quite funny in a sense. Reminds me a bit of Wet Hot American Summer, where everyone's just kind of going crazy and throwing things off a table for no apparent reason. Like, just like, especially like when they drive into the guy, smash into the guy who then smashes into the truck, and then it all explodes. Like, there's no explanation to that. It's just like, because everyone's driving around in a crazy way, it's just like, wah! I can't control my car.
I know.
Just shooting everyone. like having to hold each other, just like total panic. So it's a bit like the end of the one we watched, the American Werewolf in London.
Yeah. It is actually, yeah. So obviously, like, the majority of this opening scene is the recycled clips from the original one. Right. But it was mainly the fall from the balcony that I think they got some reshoots off of that. Because I don't think in the original you see it from outside, him falling out. I don't know, maybe you do. But yeah, it made me think, because you get a little bit of dialogue with Loomis when he comes down and he sees he's gone and the neighbour or someone is talking to him. I was wondering if that was reshot, because like I said earlier, it's really hard to tell where the first one stopped filming and the new one started, because it overlaps so well. Everyone looks the same, the picture looks the same. Very good filming, but I think they did use the same cinematographer. And like
Donald Pleasence is at 100 miles an hour straight away. Like he's at full like crazy OTT straight from minute one, or the moment you see him. He's acting insane.
Yeah.
There's loads of stuff. I don't know whether this was near the beginning or whether I just wrote it down on my notes near the beginning. But like, there's a really good history of really good films being on in the background when they're watching films in this. So in this one, Night of the Living Dead's on the TV, I think near the beginning at some point.
Yeah, I noticed that.
And you've got like the sort of the precursor, the original Thing in in a couple of the others. Yeah, it's pretty good. The problem with this is if you've got a better movie on the TV, you got to be careful that people are watching a film better than the one that they're watching, or one that you're watching, if that makes sense.
Yeah. Did you notice the perfectly clear outline of his body that was imprinted on the grass when he fell out the window?
Oh right, no, I didn't.
Did you not notice that? It's like a perfect like body mark.
Funny if he fell out the window through like a washing line and was like in a woman's dress or something, like just landed in it like a cartoon.
Yeah.
And it is. Yeah, I didn't know. It's quite. Everything's like quite intense. I don't want to jump too far ahead. Because it does calm down a bit. I suppose it doesn't calm down really until they get to the hospital, and then they have a brief period of just like getting to know the people at the hospital.
Yeah.
But it doesn't really stop until then. It's like, get in the car, get out of the car, smash things, blow things up, shoot this person, run away, pull a gun on someone. Like, it's just non-stop. And then it's like, and then you've got like hospital staff just sat in a staff room chatting for what seemed like quite a long time. But it was really weird. There's so much violence and there's nudity in this film, and it's proper intense. And the one of the characters in the film later on, she's like gets upset because someone's swearing. As like how attitudes to swearing have changed. You wouldn't even put that in a film now.
Nah.
I think there's like 90% of people just wander around effing and blinding all the time anyway, unless they work in like primary school.
So, wandering the alleys, he steals a kitchen knife from an elderly couple and kills the teenage girl next door. Meanwhile, Laurie Strode, who narrowly avoided being killed that night, is taken to Haddonfield Hospital, while Loomis continues his pursuit of Michael, accompanied by Sheriff Lee Brackett. Loomis mistakes a costumed teenager for Michael, resulting in him being hit by a police car and burning to death. Upon learning his daughter Annie has been killed by Michael, Sheriff Brackett blames Loomis and abandons the search, leaving Deputy Gary Hunt to take his place.
Gary Hunt, Annie Brackett, Sheriff Brackett, what names?
Yeah.
Annie Brackett.
Wow. What a car crash that was. That was such a Hollywood crash as well. Like, that would just never happen.
That would like smash that person in half. That the impact. It's like that. I'm trying to think what the film is. It The Mangler or The Prowler? There's a film where the main bad guy gets run over by a car and they just squish him up against a wall in a garage, and like I think his whole top half just comes off.
Oh wow!
Whereas in this one, he's just kind of like a like a sort of almost like a
just pinned him.
Yeah, he's just pinned up. It's like a bit like a what do you call it, like a Guy Fawkes sort of for me.
Yeah.
I suppose it will be a dummy. It won't be a real person. Just maybe, I don't know.
It's cool that you get to see Annie again, but I did notice when she was laying down, dead on the stretcher or whatever it is, Sheriff Brackett goes to close her eyes, and then her eyes are like blinking for a little bit. I don't know if you spotted that.
No, I didn't actually. I always miss things like that.
he pulls her eyes down like they always do, and then her eyes they're shut, but they're moving around. I
saw that because I thought that was quite. Well, it just pops straight back open.
No, they don't open up. It's just her eyes are moving around.
Right. Underneath.
Under.
Yeah. She's probably trying her best to stay still, but thinking about what to do next or not what not to do. Yeah. When you're thinking, your eyes move, don't they?
Yeah. Did you reckon he was going to kill that old couple? Because that's the first house he goes into to get the knife, doesn't he?
Yeah, it's funny because I don't know whether the story they're trying to set is that he's trying to relentlessly just get on a path to Laurie, and he's only going to do it if somebody gets directly in his way. This is where for me, it's a bit. I like the shape being a shape who just kills indiscriminately with no reason. The moment you start putting reason into what he's doing, I lose a bit of interest or I lose a bit of fear. He becomes a bit sillier for me. So like the moment that it's like, oh, it's your sister and this and this and this, I'm like, oh, okay. Like I don't need that.
Yeah, because that's what made That's what made him so scary in the first one. It's like, why is he killing everyone? Just because he is. He has no reason. He just wants to kill people.
Well, that's it. Yeah, I mean, I just think we can do without her being being his sister.
Yeah, I do. Yeah,
I think other people possibly agree with it. Maybe some of the filmmakers of some of the films as well.
I don't know. Do they steer back away from that in the other films and the sequels? I can't remember about 4 and 5, but
well, Jamie Lloyd is related to Laurie, and Laurie's related to Michael, and they still have that all the way through, but there's like weird supernatural stuff added into the mix as well.
Okay.
And then
I thought maybe in H2O they went back to being
maybe
clean slate,
I haven't really thought about those very much. I only maybe once. So what? So H2O is the 7th one.
I think so. Yeah.
Yeah. So that would be, so I think up to about 6, then they're definitely all on the family train. And then maybe it starts getting a little bit confusing. And then some of the remakes, it's the family, and then some of them they're not. I know that, I think in the latest ones, she's not. She's just...
Yeah, because the later ones...
She's just a babysitter, wasn't she?
Yeah, the later ones follow straight on from the original, don't they? So it disregards 2, 4, 5, all of them.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Interesting. This is what I mean about it getting confusing. It kind of dilutes it a little bit.
Yeah.
I don't know.
No. Well. So where are we? So at the hospital, paramedic Jimmy develops an attraction to Laurie, but head nurse Virginia Alves, I think that's the name. Nurse Virginia, I'll call her that. Nurse Virginia limits the time he spends with her. After hearing the news flash revealing Laurie's location, Michael makes his way to the hospital, where he cuts the phone lines and slashes all the car tyres so no one can escape and go for help. Yeah, and that's when Jimmy tells Laurie that the masked man that was after her was actually Michael Myers, because she didn't know that apparently in the first one. Although she knew of Michael Myers, but she didn't realise that was Michael Myers.
Ah, okay. Because it looks like almost like he's a bit of a local legend, but not necessarily tied into her family or anything to do. Like they've kept that from her.
So she obviously knew the house because she was talking about the house and the Myers house.
Yeah, so they've not kept it from her. Yeah, because this whole thing about this sealed file of information.
Yeah.
Like, surely there's just one thing in that like he's related to that family.
Yeah.
That's the only thing. And that really wouldn't have made much difference in terms of the way that they treated him, I don't think. I don't know.
Yeah.
It's just a weird one. Obviously, their family have asked for it to remain secret because they're ashamed, or they just want the kids to kind of live a normal life.
Yeah, well, I don't know.
There's a lot to explain in there.
There's a lot. Yeah. My main thing about this, what I was thinking the whole way through in the hospital was like, where the hell is everyone? There's like hardly any staff. It's a huge hospital, but it's just like a small handful of nurses and like one doctor. And also, shouldn't Laurie have some kind of like police protection with her? I mean, she's just gone through this whole like big, huge killing spree in a quiet neighborhood, and the serial killer clearly wants her, and they're all running around trying to find him, but no one even has thought to ask or even check on the one remaining survivor of that night.
It's like, I don't know, do you think it's because it's late at the hospital and you've got like the night shift staff on? Yeah. But there's not a lot of people working there.
No.
There's people hanging
there's literally
around.
Like what, 3 nurses and a doctor?
Yeah, and you've got the 2 ambulance guys who seem to spend more time just hanging out, doing nothing. Plus, they're not super professional.
No.
Just like the way they talk at work, the things they do, the fact that later on with the sort of the hydro pool thing, like
yeah,
that's not the first time that they've been in there and he's done things like that.
They know what they're doing.
Yeah, it's like that's something they do quite a lot.
It's funny though, because they started fooling around in one of the rooms, like, and she's like, so like, oh no, we can't. And then she was like, oh, I guess we can go do it in this hot tub that's all the way over here.
It is weird. It is weird that they do that. They're just kind of, obviously on night shift, everyone's just super horny and just they're only interested in each other's for carnal pleasures rather than doing their job and looking after the patients. Unless Laurie is the only patient in the hospital, in which case Haddonfield as a really healthy, other than all the people are getting murdered, which I guess you can't do. It's like a full morgue full of people and an empty hospital. So like Michael Myers is very efficient. He kills everybody. Everybody else in Haddonfield is very healthy and has no medical issues whatsoever. only Laurie is the only person who got injured enough to go into hospital. Like, oh, what do we do with her? It's the first time we've ever had anyone in this hospital before.
Yeah. And then you jump to like 40 years later when you're at the hospital again in the newer ones, and you literally can't get down the corridor because it's like shoulder to shoulder.
Yeah, that's true.
It's like the whole town is in the hospital.
Hey, that tells you everything you need to know about healthcare. I don't know about America. I don't know all the ins and outs of healthcare in America, but what a shame that back then you could just come in anytime you want and you've got your own doctor, but your doctor will be drunk.
Yeah,
he will. Shaking hands, drinking coffee.
Wow. So, wandering the halls in search of Laurie, he kills the security guard, the doctor, and several nurses throughout the night. In her hospital room, Laurie dreams about the time she learnt that she was adopted and remembers she once visited a young Michael at the sanitarium. Yeah, that was a random dream to suddenly remember.
Just realised they're making this film.
Wait a minute. Now you say it, I think he's my brother. Yeah, it's
just remembered. The trauma didn't bring it on when she was like on the actual night. Yeah. Well, same night, I guess. She's fighting him and what have you. But just later on when she's got time to reflect.
Yeah. Big plot twist. Yeah, they only kind of touched on it. It was only like twice, that being one where she dreams about it, and then later on the nurse telling Loomis in the car that they were related. But yeah, that was only like twice.
Yeah, because it's all about that sealed file, isn't it?
Yeah, just twice briefly, just dropped in there subtly, Oh yeah, he's her sister.
He's an unlikely hero, unlikely action hero as well, where Loomis like pulls the gun and gets them to turn around, and he does in this. He's a strange guy to have as like the lead, isn't he?
Yeah.
Like in terms of changing it into kind of him chasing down, because when he gets to him, he's not going to be the guy. He's basically just going to tell everybody to stand well back, and then no one seems to listen to that. That's like his main advice is to just stay away. Like, I may have shot him 6 times, or I may have done this, and this to him, but he will kill you. Like, move away from him. And they're like, no, he's fine. Dead.
Yeah. So I think by this point as well, we've seen quite a few deaths. Probably the one that stands out the most is the hydrotherapy pool, where he like cranks the heat up and he like drowns and burns that nurse's face in the pool.
Oh yeah, that's like a proper Friday the 13th style kind of.
Yeah, that's what. Yeah,
kill.
Yeah,
definitely. And it's again, there's lots of like exploitation kind of style death in that bit, which takes you steps back a little bit. It's not as kind of arty as the first film, but like I say, it's still quite creative. Like some of the kills, like this isn't the one. Is this the one where this isn't the one where he lifts her up. This is the face burning one as well.
This
or
is
it
the
one
face
with
burning one? Yeah, where he proper blisters up her face.
Because it is an iconic. There are a couple of iconic. The lifting up one is repeated in the modern ones as well. With I can't think what he's called. I think Corey does that in the newest one. So like, some parts of this are more memorable than the first one, in some ways. But I think maybe people just squish 1 and 2 together in their heads because they both happen back to back.
Yeah. Yeah, but that was a good one, man. He was dunking her like a rich tea biscuit.
Yeah. Dip me. Or Peter Kay reference.
Oh, yeah.
I don't understand. Is this hospital pool for staff? That's what I wrote down. Is this for staff? Do all hospitals have staff swimming pool?
Surely that's a birthing pool, isn't it?
Yeah. Why does it get so hot then?
I don't know.
I suppose you don't want to be out giving birth in a freezing pool.
Yeah, but equally, you don't want to sweat it out.
No, the baby just slides out. It's like, wee! I don't know if sauna / birthing pool is a good idea.
So Jimmy and Nurse Jill search the hospital for Laurie, who try to evade Michael. Jimmy finds the body of Mrs. Alves and he slipped in a pool of her own blood and knocked himself out unconscious, giving himself a concussion. Dr. Loomis, his colleague Marion Chambers, arrives to escort him back to Smith's Grove on the governor's orders and under the enforcement of a U.S. Marshal. On the way, she tells him that Laurie is Michael's younger sister. She was put up for adoption after the death of Michael's parents, with the records sealed to protect the family.
Of course.
Yeah. You would have thought...
Very convenient.
Yeah. You would have thought, like, out of all the people that should know, like, Loomis would have been one of the ones.
Yeah, why keep it from him? He's his psychiatrist. He's the guy that's working with him day in, day out. Yeah. It's not like he's going to go and tell everybody in the local pub or whatever. It's not even like the hospital is in Haddonfield and it even matters.
Yeah.
It's not like he's going to go down the local bar and let it slip over a few drinks. He lives miles away.
And you don't hear about how Michael's parents died either.
No.
Because, the original one starts with them coming home and catching Michael, and that's when he gets taken away. But somehow they die, and then she goes for adoption.
It is an odd one. It's just odd full stop, I think, with certainly that he... This is the problem with these films, and why maybe people find it hard to stick with it. You need like some sort of big corkboard and loads of pieces of string to work out what the hell is going on from film to film. And we're having this conversation after only 2 of them.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's
I know the Rob Zombie's Halloween's really hits on that quite hard in his remake. Did you like his remake? Well, I can't remember if I asked you that in
the first one. Yeah, I haven't seen this. I have seen the second one, but I can't remember it. And I have it on my watch list. So I really do want to see it again. I don't mind the first Rob Zombie one. I thought it was made really well. Thought it was quite an interesting take on it.
Yeah.
Used a lot of the good ideas from the first one. Do you like the Rob Zombie one?
I do. Yeah, I do. I like the first one. I think it was pretty good. It gets too much hate.
Yeah.
But no,
I think
really
he's quite a divisive kind of filmmaker, isn't he?
Yeah. No, I liked it.
So is the second one as good as the first one? Because I can't remember anything about it.
God, it's been a while. I
I
remember I didn't like it. I think much the same. That one's all in a hospital as well. But I think I don't know.
They could do a trilogy box set of this second one, the second one of this, and the second one of the David Gordon, the Halloween Hospital trilogy.
Yeah. So realising that Michael is after Laurie and being told that she was brought to Haddonfield Memorial Hospital, Loomis forces the marshal at gunpoint to drive back to Haddonfield. Jill finally finds Laurie, only to be killed by Michael, who then pursues Laurie through the hospital. She manages to escape to the parking lot and hides in a car. Jimmy soon arrives and tries to drive the car to safety, but passes out on the horn, attracting Michael's attention. That annoyed me. That I don't know. It's just I think it annoyed me more because I kind of liked the character of Jimmy and where he was going. You started to get a little bit of character development, but then that's where it ends. It just seems like a wasted opportunity for a new character. He's been chatting to Laurie quite a bit.
They all felt pretty disposable, do you not think?
Yeah.
The new ones that they added to it are all quite disposable, and the only ones that matter are like Sheriff, Loomis, Laurie, Michael Myers. That's it. There's no one else that's like... I know what you mean. Like, they haven't really built any other characters. In the first one, I felt like even the little characters were quite interesting.
Yeah. Because I think by this point, he's probably the only other character that you've gotten a little bit more out of. You know, he's been talking to Laurie quite a lot. But then all of a sudden, he slips on some blood and then knocks himself out, staggers to his car, and that's it. You know, if it were me, I would have probably, by that point, because we're kind of getting into like the third act now, I would have then had him be able to drive his car back to, you know, the town or whatever, and then we could have ended the film there or something instead of having the whole film in the hospital. I don't know.
Like, trying to escape, get back to the...
Yeah, just mix it up a bit, get something different, you know.
Yeah, it reminds, you know, and like you're saying, like he hits the horn, his head hits on the horn and it distracts him. It's made me think like Michael Myers, like kind of like a zombie, you know, like that's like the main thing in like certainly the early seasons of Walking Dead.
Yeah.
Just like honk the horn, make loads of noise, get the zombies' attention, make them walk towards you, and then they fall down a big hole or something. Like Michael Myers, like just like just little things distract him, like shine a bright light at him. He's not like a cat. He's got like a laser pointer.
Yeah. You always see his head just like appear out of the darkness, just into a little light. I
always forget who it is that cocks their head the best, whether it's Jason. I think it's Jason that's always like cocks his head like thinks like a dog. Like,
Yeah, I made that note later on. Again, you know, another thing that reminded me of Friday the 13th. Yeah, but there is an alternative ending. Well, not an alternative ending, but alternative part to the ending where you see that Jimmy did survive because he has bandages all over his head, and he shares an ambulance with Laurie when they go to a different hospital at the end. So he is alive. He just, I don't know, passed out in his car.
It's hard for them to hold on to characters and make them important, especially if they're wanting to like have them in other... I don't think they're too bothered. This is the problem. You can't no one's thinking, oh, they're going to make a sequel to this in 10, 15, 20, 30 years' time. So suddenly characters that have no meaning or bearing on the story, or anyone has very little interest in them, suddenly they bring them back in like a sort of a new film. And they're like, oh, do you remember this guy? Michael Myers like bumped into him when he was walking past on the way to kill this person. You're like, oh yeah, that guy. Like, not important at all, but they're bringing them all back. That's the problem, because obviously kills off everybody except the main ones. Yeah. And obviously then time killed off Donald Pleasence, so he couldn't come back for some of the later. So you're struggling, really, aren't you? You have to like. That's why bringing back somebody like Jamie Lee Curtis is so important. Otherwise, you've got nothing. You've just got a guy dressed as Michael Myers.
Yeah.
But you don't hold on to many characters, because the whole point of the film is that everyone gets killed. Yeah. It's like Scream, isn't it? People either complain in Scream that too many people are getting killed of all the ones you like, or not enough people are getting killed because you like them too much, so we're not killing them. It's like, no, you can't win.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah.
It's like, Dewey's dead. Oh no, I love Dewey. I want him to stay alive for a whole film. So and it's like, oh well, Gail Weathers is still alive. Why is she still alive?
Yeah, why can't she
die? Do you want her dead? No.
So Loomis, Marion, and the marshal reach the hospital just in time to save Laurie. Loomis shoots Michael until he falls down, seemingly dead. While Marion calls the police on the marshal's radio, the marshal tries to check Michael's pulse as Loomis warns him to stay away, knowing he isn't dead. Michael revives and slits the marshal's throat with a scalpel.
That's quite a good kill.
Yeah, it was actually. Yeah, he uses that scalpel quite a lot in this movie. In the first one, he had that big old kitchen knife, but this one is got this tiny little scalpel.
Dr. Michael Myers. He's no one, like I said, no one listens to Loomis. He's just like, no, he's not. No, stand back. No. And they're just like, oh, shut up. And they get killed. There was a kid on my street when I was a kid.
Fatality.
Ooh, sorry.
I thought that was him. He used to run around with a scalpel when we were playing and like try and like.
Oh, great.
Yeah, he was. I don't know. I wonder whatever happened to that guy.
It's now become quite a trope in horror where the killer doesn't actually die, even if he seems like he is dead. Loomis knows what's up, but.
He's watched a lot of horror films.
Yep. He warned him not to get too close, but he did, then he died. So.
Yeah. But there you go, people don't listen even after Scream's been out and they've explained how horror films work to everybody.
Yeah.
Still kills everybody in Halloween H2O in the same way. Still Halloween Resurrection.
Yeah. I suppose, this wasn't really a trope back then, was it? 1981. No. This was where tropes started,
Yeah, he's an unstoppable killing machine, which is a bit of a shock and a bit of a surprise then. So, like you say, I guess looking through the eyes of the time, that's pretty cool. And again, there's no explanation for it, so I think that makes it really interesting.
Is this where where the whole supernatural Michael kind of begins? Because the first one briefly, stabs her with like a knitting needle and stuff, but
yeah,
I don't think he actually took that much damage in the first one.
No, and I think that somewhere in the books, like when they used to do movie tie-in books, I'm sure there's like either in the first or the second movie tie-in book, there's some supernatural stuff in there, and maybe that has something to do with influencing it as they go. But they've done there was so many revisions and so many different ideas as they went through. I think they just wrote themselves into a corner where he had to be supernatural, otherwise it just wouldn't. It'd be laughable if there wasn't a reason for it.
Yeah.
Because but it makes more sense that it just takes less damage.
Yeah. Because Loomis does go on and on about, I shot him 6 times. 6 times. I shot him 6 times. God, the amount of times he says how many times he shot him.
It's funny. I hadn't clocked that because I couldn't remember watching it.
What, how many times he shot him?
Yeah, and I remember when I was watching a watch along, and some guy was doing a watch along or something, and he kept saying, "I shot him 6 times," and I was like, why does that guy keep saying that? And then I watched this and I was like, oh, now I know why that guy was saying that.
6 times! I shot him 6 times.
So maybe 7 is the magic number for killing him.
So I think, this is the final scene. So Loomis and Laurie run into an operating room where he gives her the marshal's gun before being stabbed by Michael. Laurie shoots the assailant in both eyes, blinding him. As he swings around the space violently, the two fill the room with flammable gas. Loomis orders Laurie to get out before igniting the gas, immolating himself and Michael in an explosion. Laurie watches as Michael, engulfed in flames, emerges from the fire before finally collapsing. The next morning, she is transferred to another hospital, traumatized but still alive.
Lives to fight another day.
Yeah, so obviously he comes back.
What? I thought that was it. He's dead. John Carpenter said he was going to kill him.
It's going to take a bit more than some fire and a big explosion to kill me.
Yeah, you're going to have to put him inside a giant, trash compactor and squish him into a little box. That's the only way we can do it.
Does Michael... I'm assuming he does, but does he know that they're related? Is that his whole reason for going after Laurie? Because when she says his name, she goes Michael, and then he does that head tilt thing, signifying that maybe he recognises it or something. I don't know.
Similar than when I say my dog's name and she's just like, food. I think this is what did he spend his youth doing? For a kid who was completely so far gone, the personification of evil. He was learning to drive. He was reading confidential files about his family. He can read. I don't know. It's not like Loomis didn't tell him, did he? Because he didn't know either.
He's obviously a very good cook because he knows his way around a good kitchen knife.
He does. And scalpels as well, so maybe he's learned a bit about surgery.
No, he's getting his doctorate.
Yeah. How strange.
Yeah.
I don't know, it doesn't make any sense.
No. But yeah, very much the same as Friday the 13th. Especially Friday the 13th Part 2, when What's-Her-Face says Jason's name, and he does the head tilt. And ironically, both of these films, Part 2s, come out in the same year.
Right. Yeah. There's I'll tell you one thing I noticed as well. If Jamie Lee Curtis does her own stunts, when she does that bump out of the window, she falls right on her bum and legs. It's quite it doesn't look like anything, but I bet that really hurt. Yeah. It's a good couple of feet. Yeah. The other thing as well, talking about similarities in Scream 5, the endless corridors, slippy hospital corridors, reminded me a bit of this as well.
Ah, yeah. Yeah, that's true.
There's actually the Freddy. I think it's called Freddy's Nightmares, the TV series of Nightmare on Elm Street. I watched a few of those, and one of them is set in a hospital, and he's got literally Freddy chasing people through endless corridors of hospitals as well. So it's just a thing, I guess.
Yeah. Well, I think wasn't Dream Warriors set in a hospital?
Oh, of course. Yeah. Why didn't my mind go to that one? It went to a really weird, obscure... Because that was a whole episode of somebody, I think, having a car accident, and then they're in hospital, and Freddy's not... I don't think Freddy's actually in it, because a lot of those Freddy's Nightmares ones are an anthology, kind of like Tales from the Crypt or Creep Show kind of thing, so they're not all... Freddy just appears at the beginning and at the end of the episode to, say hi and goodbye.
Yeah.
So I don't know why I brought that up, really. But yeah, of course, my favourite one in the series is in a hospital as well. Dream Warriors.
Dream Warriors. Good bit of Doc in there.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, that's all I've got. I mean, I've just got a little bit, me having a little moan that, the main character, Laurie, she didn't really do much throughout this film. I know she's supposed to be exhausted from the events that just happened literally last night, but the majority of the film she's just laying in bed, and I think she only got about 25 minutes of screen time. Yeah,
it is strange that.
Yeah.
Well, I don't worry. She'll have loads of screen time in the third one. No, but do you know what? Probably there probably are, or she may be already considering thinking about being in less horror. We're talking. I know she was in a couple more, like Terror Train and such like. But I think she'll have had agents and people telling her to actively choose films that aren't horror, so you don't get kind of stigmatized by it.
Like Freaky Friday.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Even though it was freaky. Yeah. So
okay. All right.
It's in the books.
Let's go ahead and rate this one. So I've done this 1 to 10 bullets to the eyeballs.
Oof.
So
Okay.
As far as sequels go, I've definitely seen worse. It weren't a bad film, but it's it definitely weren't amazing. It had good moments in it. I enjoyed the uniqueness of every kill. They clearly tried mixing it up, so it weren't very repetitive. So, however, I think the fact that near enough the entire movie was set in the same place made it a little bit boring for me. More towards the third act. I wish they'd have maybe gotten out of the hospital and gone back to Haddonfield, probably back to the Myers house. That might have been cool. Yeah, Laurie fell a little bit flat for me. Jimmy, who had a potential for being a good character, also a wasted opportunity. But I'd say, if you're having like a Halloween party and you want something on in the background that you don't need to pay too much attention to, then it's a good one to have on. It is a good top slasher with a bunch of action, some fun action, some good kills. But as far as my rating for this one, it's probably going to be my lowest one yet. I'm going to give this a 6.5 bullets to the eyeballs out of 10.
That's so strange. That is so strange.
Okay.
Because that's what I'm going to give it to.
Oh, really?
Yeah, 6.5. And also, that's what IMDb gave it.
Oh, really? Oh, okay.
Yeah, so we're all in agreement. Not quite a 7.
I don't feel as bad now.
No, because I think that it's strange, really, because it's not a very long film, but it does kind of drag in places. And like you say, using the hospital, I usually like things where we're in tight and closed spaces and you use creative ways of kind of making it interesting. It doesn't quite work in that sense. I think for me, it gets less scary, or Michael Myers gets less scary, less sinister once she becomes his sister. It becomes less random. He becomes less the Shape and more Michael Myers. And I think I prefer the Shape. So that's why for me it's a 6.5. Usually, and I do quite like hospital set things, which is strange. And then, like I said, there's lots of invented kills. The kills are more I think fit in more with those slashers later on in the 80s. They're more modern ones, more sort of exploitation, young people, nudity, really creative kills that you would expect to see in sort of ones that followed this. So if anything, it's setting the template for what people are going to do in other films, which is pretty cool. A cool thing to kind of to do, to sort of try and reinvent it a little bit again. And then everybody else tries to follow it.
Yeah.
So yeah, I totally agree with everything you said. I think 6.5 for me. There's nothing terrible about it. And there's nothing there's a couple of memorable moments, but it doesn't stand up to the scrutiny of being put beside the first one, which obviously it's going to be.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Yeah, that's cool. Okay, you ready to head into some trivia?
Yep.
Trivia. Oh, yeah!
Cool. Right, I've only got 4 bits of trivia here. I couldn't really find much, but I've got is... To get the role of Michael Myers, Dick Warlock revealed that as he passed by a room, the Michael Myers mask was on a table. He put the mask on and walked into Rick Rosenthal's office and just stood there. He just stood there and looked at him. After Rosenthal continuously asked him who he was, and he didn't reply, he took the mask off and asked if he could play Michael Myers.
I'm Michael Myers, bitch.
That's pretty cool. I like that. Just put it out there.
Scary. That's pretty scary. Maybe that's what you want to do if you want to get a role in Hollywood. Yeah. Well, obviously, if that role is Michael Myers, don't just dress as Michael Myers if you want to be in the next Frozen film or whatever.
The film is set immediately after the first Halloween in 1978. Since Jamie Lee Curtis had begun to wear a much shorter hairstyle in the 1980s, she had to wear a wig that matched her original hairstyle for the film.
Yeah, you can. Now you've said it, I can tell.
Yeah, I didn't think about it at the time, but yeah, now after I saw that, it kind of made more sense.
Yeah, it's just like Samurai Cop, where he's wearing his wig.
The 17-year-old who was hit by the police car and burnt alive, at first believed to be Michael Myers, was supposed to be Ben Tramer, the boy Laurie confesses to having a crush on in the original Halloween, 1978.
The guy I mentioned in my trivia, Bennett Tramer, the Saved by the Bell guy.
Yeah, that's it, yeah.
It all comes back around.
Yeah, Bennett Tramer. And he went to university with John Carpenter. Yeah.
That's mad.
Right, last one. In addition to his role as the Shape, Dick Warlock also appeared as the policeman who accidentally hits Ben Tramer with his patrol car and crashes it into the van. Warlock,
so he's a stunt guy too.
Yeah, Warlock not only drove the car himself during the car crash scene, but he also did all of his own stunts as Michael Myers.
Cool. Yeah, I think he was. I think he was the stunt coordinator on the film. And also another guy that was in it is Dana Carvey. Garth from Wayne's World is in the film.
Really?
Yeah, he plays assistant. Now, I don't know what that is. I looked for him and I couldn't recognize him, but I saw the name in the credits and I was like, that can't be Dana Carvey. That can't be Garth. It was like his first film.
Oh, wow. Oh, okay, so, that's cool.
Yeah. He's not dressed up in the long hair and glasses and
that's why I didn't spot him.
Like Garth. Yeah. He's not stood beside Mike Myers. Michael Myers. How weird.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. His first film was with Michael Myers, and then he was most famous for working with Mike Myers. How weird.
Ooh.
I'll just work that out. Spooky.
Cool. Right, that's all the trivia I've got. So if you're ready, we'll head into this week's game.
I'm ready. Born ready.
I want to play a game.
So this game is the Halloween quiz. I've got 6 questions here, all Halloween related throughout the whole franchise. Let's see what you can get out of 6.
So Halloween the film, not Halloween the holiday?
Yeah.
Okay.
So, which Halloween film had the lowest grossing box office revenue of the franchise?
Okay, so it's either the mid ones or... I'm going to go Resurrection.
Ooh, no. You're not far
4.
off. It's Halloween 5, The Revenge of Michael Myers.
Okay. That's what I was going to go for 4 or 5, and then I was like, no, I'll say that one.
Yeah. To be fair, I don't even remember that one whatsoever, so...
I might watch 4 and 5 back to back and just revisit them again, because I think I had a lot of fun with those.
I do actually want to carry this on now. I might watch the 4th one later on.
Yeah. For sure.
How long did it take John Carpenter and Debra Hill to write the screenplay for the original Halloween?
It's going to be massively long or very, very short, so I'm going to say 2 weeks.
10 days.
Well, I wasn't including weekends. So correct. No.
All right, nice easy one. What mask
That
does
was
Michael
correct.
wear?
William Shatner.
Yeah.
Yep. The
Captain
Shat.
Kirk. In Halloween Resurrection, what is the name of the reality TV show that takes place in the Myers house?
Oh, damn. Murder House or something ridiculous, some shit like that.
It's-
Murder TV. Oh,
Yeah, it's so stupid. Dangertainment.
entertainment. Okay, of course.
What was the original title of Halloween?
Oh, was it like something girl, not sorority girl massacre or the sorority killer or something to do with? It sounded more trashy. I can't remember.
You're on
I
the
give
right
up.
lines. You're
I
very
give
close.
up.
The Babysitter Murders.
Babysitter Murders. All I could think of was sorority for some reason. But yeah, Babysitter Murders. Sounds trashier.
Yeah. All right, last one. What is the 6th movie in the Halloween franchise? Like, what's the name of it?
The Revenge? No, H2O. No, that's 7. The Revenge, The Return of Michael Myers?
No, The Revenge is 5. The 6th one is The Curse of Michael Myers.
The Curse, that's the sort of, witchy one. Oh man, I get so confused with these films.
Yeah.
That's why I just stick with 3. I don't have to remember anything about that one other than Tom Atkins.
That always seems to be a thing as well with franchises in the horror ones. So you always get like revenge ones and curse ones or returns of,
Return of, yeah.
Yeah.
Confusing.
Cool.
Wait, what are the Friday? The I'm trying to think. There's Dream Warriors, Dream Master, Dream Child.
Yeah, they're all dreaming.
Dream. Yeah.
All right, that is everything. So,
Awesome, we did it.
yeah, that was all.
We did it. We got there. We got through it. What's next?
Next
It's on the
up.
chopping block.
Next up is Hellraiser 2.
Ah.
Hellraiser 2, and then
Cool.
it'll be the poll pick for the sequel September, and that'll be Aliens.
Oh yeah, Aliens. Oh well, that's good. I won't have to get a Lionsgate subscription for that.
Oh, you will be happy as well. We won't be that far off in doing Halloween 3 as well. We're going to do that this Halloween.
Oh, cool. I can't wait for you to watch that.
That'll be my first time. I'm really looking forward to watching that.
Yeah, that'll be good. Thing is, though, I've bigged it up for every single episode that we've done. You're probably going to hate it.
I'll try not to set my my standards too high then.
Yeah, try not to set nice, even approach to it, and then be pleasantly surprised.
Cool. All right then, dude.
All right, thank you.
Awesome.
Peace.
See ya. If you've liked today's episode, be sure to go and like us on Facebook. That's where we announce our next episodes, as well as each month doing a themed poll pick where you get to choose what you want us to watch. We like to hear from you, so please feel free to leave us a comment or send us a message, or you can even email us at allthingshorror666@gmail.com. That's all for today. Thanks for listening, and we'll see you in the next one.
We all go a little mad sometimes.